Friends, I would like to welcome you to this 3-day meditation workshop, which will give us an experience of practical meditation and not only talk about it and hear about it. Very often, subjects like spiritual path go unpracticed. We read a lot about it, but we don't practice enough. We read the scriptures. We think maybe the salvation is in reading. We read over and over again and make no spiritual progress at all. We deceive ourselves. The truth is, if you read the scriptures carefully of any religion, it gives you directions, what you should do to discover who you are, to discover where is your real home and how to reach home. We read about these things but do not practice them. I am glad you are all here, not to just read about things, not to hear about things, but to actually practice them. Of course, with the limitation of time, we cannot have a full practice, which I would like to have with you guys. I would like to do the meditation myself with all of you. So if you have any problem anywhere, you could speak to me in the midst of it, and I could say, I can help you in that area or not. But time limitation makes it not possible. Therefore, what we are going to do is really a sampling of meditation in these 3 days. Of course, you will have plenty of time to ask questions. But during the meditation, you please cooperate with everybody so that the meditation goes without interruption. Also, Mark is recording these meditation workshops, and I will request him, when the actual meditation starts, he will stop the recording. And only when we finish, he'll restart the recording, so that there's no distraction of any kind. Friends, I welcome you, and I see many old friends with new faces, because we don't normally meet people unless we have met them before. We think they are new. Nobody is really new. We have known them before. We might have known them way back, where our memory cannot easily go back. It could be previous lives. It could be another station. It could be another planet. It could be somewhere else. But we have known each other, so we assemble again. Of course, with meditation, you can find out how old your friendship was. That is why meditation gives you strange kind of information which you cannot get by any other means. Meditation is merely a process. It's not an end by itself. We do not meditate for the sake of meditation. We meditate to get something. And what do we get? A knowledge about ourselves. Who are we? When we discover who we are, then the question arises, are we here temporarily? Is this really our place? Is this really our home? Or do we belong somewhere else? And if we belong somewhere else, where is it? Where is our true home? And we discover our true home. The path to our true home lies within this physical body. This physical body of ours has not come very easily. It has come after a long process of evolution. We have evolved, apart from Darwin's biological evolution, we have evolved through several phases of experiences before we got a human body, because the human body is the top of creation. Nothing exists in this whole creation equal to a human body. The human body in Indian literature has been called Nar-Narayani De, which means a body in which the Lord himself, the Creator, and the soul that yearns for the Lord, both are living together. We and our destination are both in this body. At other places, this body has been called the kingdom of the living God is in this body. That means all other things that we read outside are dead scriptures. But the real scriptures, The real truth about those scriptures lies inside our body. Imagine the value of this body. The physical body is not merely flesh and bones. It has so much other stuff. The most important thing that makes the body alive, the life force, is consciousness. If we are not conscious, the body does not operate. Consciousness is the source of all awareness, all our perceptions, all our knowledge of this world and any other world, all our knowledge of what is inside and outside, all comes because of consciousness. We have never tried to study consciousness. We try and study everything else in the world. We study all subjects in the world about external matter, external material things, about physical things. We never study what is consciousness. Because if consciousness is the core of all experience, all our sense perceptions are working on consciousness, then the perceptions are creating this whole universe for us. Shouldn't we know what consciousness is? But how do we know about consciousness? Where does it lie? If you just contemplate for a second, it is obvious that you are conscious not from anywhere outside. You are conscious because the consciousness is in the body. It's in your own physical frame. Not only is it in all physical frame, you can easily contemplate for a few minutes more and you say, where do we operate as conscious beings? Not as human bodies, as conscious beings. And you'll discover that the consciousness lies in the head of every person. This small head placed on top of the body contains everything that you ever have to know. All the truth about yourself, the truth about your true home, the knowledge of all the heavens that exist, the knowledge of God Himself lies in this small little head sitting on top of our body. That is the real temple to go into to find God. People want to know, where is God? Where does He live? When I see people worshipping and looking upside, I get wonder. They look like this. I say, where is God? Is He sitting upstairs somewhere? Why are they looking up? Shouldn't they look inwards? Shouldn't they know that even those who are saying pray to God are saying God is inside? Why are we looking outside? Why don't we have a peep inside? The very easy answer is, we try to have a peep inside, we close our eyes, we see nothing but darkness. How can there be God sitting in darkness? Our closed eyes see nothing but darkness. Therefore, we give up and look for God where He doesn't belong, where He's not sitting. But God's power through consciousness spreads all over, because nothing can be perceived, nothing can be known, nothing can be experienced without consciousness. Therefore, if God is everywhere, He must be in consciousness and operates from there. And we don't get a chance to look into our own consciousness. If you want to study consciousness, you must go to the source of it. The source of consciousness, when we are in this physical body, in the wakeful state, is right in the head, right behind the eyes, right where the two eyes, if there was an arrow like this, they meet the middle of this head. We are conscious beings operating from there. We are sitting as conscious drivers of the whole system, including our physical bodies from there. How can we go in there? Is there a possibility that we can close our eyes and go in there? Yes. The meditational techniques are designed for that. Those who have already traveled this path, those who have gone inside and have traveled not only to the center of where they belong, when they are in the physical body awake, but even when they are reached their own home, in the true home, who have traveled all the way, whom we call perfect living masters. They have traveled that way. They are excellent guides to tell us how we can close our eyes and not see darkness, but see light. Not only light that is physical light, but much more than that, the light of enlightenment, of knowledge, of awareness, of total consciousness, of God Himself. All this can be attained by a method, and the method is meditation. And that is why we have come to see if really it works, and how can we convert the darkness that we see by closing our eyes into light and into something much more real than we are seeing even outside. In meditation, we are searching for God. Most people are searching for God. Even atheists, I met an atheist. I said, do you search for God? He said, thank God I'm an atheist. Even he believed in a God. So therefore, somehow, there is some loneliness in us. There is some yearning in us, which is always trying to find out who is our Creator, who's trying to find out the truth about ourselves. Of course, whoever has created us, it doesn't matter what name you give to Him. You can call Him God, you can call Him Allah, you can call Him Ishwar, Parameshwar, you can call Him by any name whatsoever. It's all the same God. The same God sits in all of us. He does not distinguish between any race, color, nationality, age, gender, nothing at all. The same God sits in the same fine quality in everyone. Therefore, those who want to seek God do not have to go to a particular group or a particular religion, particular cult, particular way of doing things, because for them the system is the same. Go within and you will find the truth. They all say so. The truth is within, so go within and find the truth. I noticed that even in this audience, there are people of different colors. I see white and black and brown and yellow, and from different nationalities. I see many people in this group from different countries over here. The same God sits in all of us. There's no distinction. When we say a perfect living master can guide us, does it mean he has something more than we have? Not at all. We all have the same equipment, the same God, the same power, the same consciousness that a perfect living master has. The only difference is that in his current experience, his experience is what is inside, and we are locked out. And he can help us to unlock our own self and discover who we are. Meditation, therefore, is a technique of going within and discovering who we are, and then discovering our source and discovering who our Creator is. In this system, we use a method which is inbuilt into all of us. The method is the use of attention. Consciousness has many parts. Consciousness includes anything that you can be conscious of, anything that you can be aware of, anything that you can remember. It's all part of consciousness. Even lost memories are part of consciousness. The subconscious, the unconscious, is part of consciousness. Consciousness is a very big generic term, which includes all kinds of awarenesses or lack of awarenesses that are built into us. But the power of awareness is limited in any state to only one level of reality. Right now, sitting in this hall with our physical bodies and looking at this world through our physical eyes, we see the physical world as our only reality. We are not seeing any other reality. We think this is the only reality. Therefore, even when we meditate, we are not losing sight of the fact that we are really a body and we are really looking at a reality which is inside, but at the same level as it is outside. There's no way to get away from the fact that at one time we can only see one reality. When we go into a sleep state, every night we go to sleep, we lose touch with this reality. We don't know where the wakeful state has gone. We get into a dream state. In the dream state, the dream is a reality, and we take it as real. The dream continues to be real till we wake up. It does not become real in the middle of the dream. In the middle of the dream, if somebody were to tell you, look, you are dreaming, and you say, how do you say I'm dreaming? You say, well, you can check it out. You can wake up and find out. And you can ask in a dream 20 other people, are we all dreaming? They say, no, we are not dreaming. And then you wake up and you find there were no 20 people. There was nobody to talk to you. You created the whole thing in your own mind. You created the whole dream sequence with so many people, with so many questions and answers, with so many people making you happy and unhappy out of yourself in a dream. The dream lasted and made it look real. The same way, while we are in the wakeful state is our only reality. And we take it as real to the extent that we think we have to find God in this state. We do not realize that just we can go to sleep in a lower state, we can also go into a state of consciousness that is more awake than the one we are having now. That we can awake to a higher level of reality. And when you are in that reality, this world we have been living in will look like a dream. And you will realize it was just a setup. It was just a creation. It was created for experience. Just like the dreams in sleep are created for an experience. Therefore, the experience of waking up to a higher level of consciousness gives us a chance to experience our way back home. Because we can wake up many times. What do we find if we wake up? And I'll talk to you the method of waking up in a little while. But what are we expecting to find? We're expecting to find that there's a higher reality than this physical reality. Big difference in the two realities is that this reality is only created when we have experience of a physical body. If we don't have a physical body, we cannot experience this reality. Being in the physical body creates the whole of this world. The whole of the material world exists for us because we know we have a physical body. When you withdraw from this physical body to a higher reality, the physical body disappears. And we realize it was like a dream body. But another body appears. And we realize that was a real body. And that real body, which we call Suksham Sharir or astral body, that real body is the one which then creates the real world, more real than this physical world. And everything there is different but more real than this. The reality of that body can be experienced by any one of us. And when we go into that body, a strange thing happens. When we stay long enough in that state to recall how long have we been in that state, we discover we have been in that state much longer than we have been in the physical body. That physical body was a short dream and that we had a much longer life. In terms of physical time, that body has an average life of 2,000 years, ranging from 1,000 to 3,000 physical years. It's a body. It's got sense perceptions. It can see, it can touch, taste, smell, walk, fly. It has no gravity there. It can fly at will. It's very light. It does not need food. There are so many characteristics I could keep on describing with that body, but I would rather like that you see it yourself, because it's the basis in all of you for the creation of the physical body. If that astral or fine body was not inside you, you would neither have this body nor the sense perceptions to perceive this world. Therefore, you can perceive another world with the sense perceptions that do not come from this physical body. They come from the astral body, from the inner body. The inner body is responsible for all sense perceptions. When we say we see with these eyes can't see. If you're unconscious, you don't see. If you're dreaming, your eyes are open, you don't see anything outside here. If you're in a stupor, you don't see. If you're in a coma, you don't see. The eyes are open. The eyes don't see. It's a function of consciousness at a different level. And that level, where sense perceptions operate, is called the astral level of consciousness. And we have an astral body. And therefore, we discover that we have been to this physical universe and dreamt about it again and again. It's not the first time. You don't need any proof from anybody else whether there's reincarnation or not. You can go and remember it yourself through simple meditation. Simple meditation, which we'll talk about, is the one to go and find out whether you were here before or not. Don't have to go to psychologists and other people to say, can you regress me into a past life? No, the whole thing is all inside you. You can discover it within yourself. It's not outside. But then, if you reach that state, you think you have reached heaven, you have reached the Creator, and you find a Creator. The whole system is being run from there. The physical system, the astral system, the system of astral sense perceptions is all running from there. And unless somebody can really take you beyond, you think that's the end of all creation, and you come to the Creator. Still, there is time and space there. a different kind of time. The time there in the astral self can be frozen. You can halt a particular experience at will and restart it when you like. I remember as children we used to play a game called freeze. And people would be running around, they say freeze, and everybody stopped in the same movement. And then they started again. That is not a game, it's a reality in the astral plane. You can all experience it. But there's still a body. Only a perfect living master who has gone beyond that state can tell you, don't be deluded, you have not reached your home. There's another body, temporary, like this one, like the physical body, only it's longer duration, but still not yourself. Nor have you discovered yourself, nor have you discovered your true home. You just had a greater, better experience. If you are not guided by a master who has gone beyond that state, he will call that your true home. And many masters do that, because they themselves have not seen anything beyond, and they think that is the end of all experiences and consciousness generated from there, because they can see that the whole of the physical world has been created, copied from there. The original is all there, and the copy is right here. So they think that must be the real home. A perfect living master who comes from beyond that takes you beyond that body. How? Same method. He says you still have a body, you still have a consciousness operating from within that body. Trace out where that consciousness is operating, still from the head of that body. Go within that. When you go within that astral body, in the head, you find you open up another world, another state of creation, and another formless state of your own, where you find that you don't need a body. You don't even need sense perceptions. You can experience everything without it. And that world we call the causal world, or Karan Sharir, a body in which we can cause all things to happen. It's the cause of all things. And it is also the home of the mind. The thinking mind still operates there. Sense perceptions are not needed because the mind can perform all its functions all at once, which means we don't have to use hearing and seeing and touching separately. They operate together in that body. Still a body. You don't have a form like these bodies. There's still a form of that body. And people describe that body as some kind of a strong oval light, very strong light, and the whole area of that new creation has a very different kind of sky and does not have a sunrise and sunset. On the other hand, it has a sky that's of the color of a sun, setting sun. If you see a setting sun, and when the sun sets, it looks larger and becomes a little paler, and you can look at it. Supposing you stretch that sun wide and take it open to the whole sky, that's the look of the causal sky. We used to call it the golden sky, the orange sky, the sky with, and people worshipped it the sun sky. So because the whole sky looks like the sun, it's a great experience. You discover wonderful things. The most important thing you discover is that your mind, which you thought was individual, that you all have individual thinking machines by which to think, is only one common mind we all share. That there is only one universal mind, the creator of all things, all experiences below it. That the causal mind is the creator of all things, that one universal mind. That we are participating in that mind, not separated from it. That the experiences of the physical and the astral world came from that one source of a universal causal mind. It's a very interesting place. And you get knowledge of how the building blocks of the experience of consciousness have taken place in the physical and the astral world. You see how concepts have been created, how ideas have been created, how forms have been created, how shapes have been created. Those are all originating in the causal plane, and we can all have access to that and experience it ourselves and see that is the origin of all our universes here. All the universes that exist in time and space originate from there, and they end there. And anybody would say there can be nothing more than that. You have reached the universal mind, the creator of all mind, the creator of all experiences. Wouldn't you call that God? Yes, you would call it God. All creation that we can understand with our minds has come from there. And yet, a human being like us, who is a perfect living master, has had access to something more than that. He tells us that is not your real home. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Our life is very long in the causal plane. It's the life of our mind. Its average life, according to physical time, would range from 3 to 5 million years. So it's a very long-lasting state. So you have the same mind for millions of years, even though you may have several astral bodies and countless physical bodies in the meanwhile. Therefore, it's still not our home. It's a temporary thing. It is very long-lasting, but not immortal. Our state of pure consciousness, our soul, is immortal, has no beginning, no middle, no end. It's a continuous thing. There's nothing involved with time. It creates time. It creates all these things. It creates the mind. It creates the universal mind. Therefore, it lies above the causal plane. Only a perfect living master who has gone beyond that can take you beyond that. What does he say? These are all three covers upon you. You haven't reached yourself at all. You are the soul, not the mind. The mind is a thinking machine. The soul is consciousness. The mind won't function if you are not conscious. Consciousness is the powerhouse that makes the mind function. Consciousness is the powerhouse that makes the mind function, and the mind in turn can create the senses function, and they in turn create the physical body function, and the whole world comes into being. It's your soul which has no age limit. It was never born. It will never die. It's the true immortality can be seen in that soul. You haven't found the soul. You're still regarding the mind as yourself, which is a big mistake we make all the time here. And we keep on making the same mistake all the time till a perfect living master can say, you can leave your mind behind and go further towards your true home. In Indian literature, they say Brahman is the creator of this entire universe of the three worlds. And they describe the three worlds of the physical material world, the astral suksham world, the fine world, and the causal world of the mental states which is creating the whole universe. And the mind is the creator of all these three. The regions above the mind are truly spiritual. They belong to the spirit, they belong to our soul, and only a perfect living master who has transcended the mind and gone beyond can take us there. How does he take us there? Because he says nobody can go there by himself. So you have to accompany somebody who's already got a connection right up there. That is why it's impossible for anybody to go beyond the mind, because we work always with the mind. All our struggle is with the mind. Our seeking is with the mind. And we are doing everything with our mind. Therefore, if we want to go beyond the mind, it is somebody operating without the mind, somebody operating with consciousness per se, who can take us beyond. And such a person we call a perfect living master. When he takes us beyond that, he shows us, when we leave the mind and the three worlds of mind and matter behind, he shows us we are pure spirit, pure soul. Compared to this physical world where we cannot even look at one sun in the afternoon, the light of each soul shines with the radiance of 16 of these physical suns put together. They're the light of each one of us, sitting inside right now with us. That's from where all consciousness is coming. It is an enlightened consciousness. That light belongs to the soul, belongs to us. And we have hidden it deeply with these three big covers of mind, senses, and body. But that looks like reality to us, because first time we have found immortality. First time we have found that we are immortal souls. We were never these other things. These are covers upon us. And yet the perfect living master tells us, you haven't reached home, but you made a big step. You discovered who you are. Next step is, let's go home. And he takes you beyond the individuated state of the mind and of the soul. And he takes you where all souls pre-exist in one condition, that's total consciousness, which is our real creator. And we find we never left our home, we only lost awareness of it. The journey back was not a journey, but was a realization of who we are, where we are. And we are operating from there. Nobody ever left their home. We thought we left our home. We created illusions about leaving the home. We changed our awarenesses and created the whole world through the power of consciousness. What I have just described to you is possible for each one of us sitting here. Each one of us has this pathway right inside. You don't have to borrow from anywhere. No body can put this stuff into you. It pre-exists. It's a gift from the Creator. It's a gift given to us from the Creator that if you are tired of these experiences in this world, I'll take you back, and that's the route. And He gives us a key, so we can open the door ourselves, within ourselves. And the key is a guidance from a perfect living Master who has already done it. Who is a perfect living Master? He is not a magician or somebody showing public miracles on the streets. A perfect living Master is exactly like us. He is totally human like us. He is born like us, lives like us, dies like us, falls sick like us, eats like us. If happens to be a man, he does sure like us. You know what sure is? Shit, shower and shave. He does exactly what we do. There's no difference in the characteristics of a human being and a perfect living Master. He is a human being. One difference only. The difference is in the awareness. We have locked out from our own awareness. He is not, he's locked in to his awareness. We do not know where these 5 stages belong to our true home. He has opened them up and he carries that awareness with him even when he is a human being, as a physical, ordinary human being sitting with us. He behaves like us. He behaves exactly like us. Why is that necessary? There's one very simple reason why he does that. Because he wants to be a friend first and a master afterwards. We don't trust masters. We have an innate doubt of these things. But we trust friends. Therefore, a true perfect living master will be a friend first and a master next. He'll show how he is a master afterward, but you will feel the friendship first. If a master were to show magical tricks to say he is a master, we won't take him as a master. Supposing a master comes into this hall and flies into the sky, into the hall like this, and we're all looking up at him. What will we think of him? First we'll say there is a trick. There must be some ropes or some strings, and we look for the strings. If we can't see strings, some of us will swoon, faint. How did he do it? And we may admire him. We may be amused by him. We may even worship him, but will not be a friend of his. If he happens to fall down and get hurt, many of us will run to help him. And we'll say, yes, he can be a friend of ours. Don't forget, a friend, to be a friend, has to be an ordinary friend, but an extraordinary friend in his awareness. My own teacher, the great master, Hazur Maharaj Baba Sawan Singh Ji, used to say that if we put a large number of radio sets without any power connection, without any battery in them, they all look the same. Only the one with a battery or with a power connection will give us the news of the world. We are like that. We are all looking the same, behaving the same, but without a power connection. A perfect living master is like us, but with a power connection to his home. Not once in a while. Not that once in a while he contacts his home and says, where are you, Father? No. He is constantly in touch with all the 5 levels. And that is possible for us too. It's not that he is unique in this, that he alone is conscious of the 5 levels of creation. All of us can be in that state. We can be in that state even if we are not destined to be masters to teach anybody else. In India, they say that a person who has attained that state is like a master, but we call him a gurmukh, one who lives entirely in the Lord's will, and he is entirely in tune with all the 5 levels, and he has discovered the whole basis of this pattern of creation and lives in it because he is one with the Creator of this pattern. A human being has a very unique facility, a very unique quality no other living being has. And that quality which distinguishes a human being from all others is called free will. Because we can make choices. And we always see alternatives. We see many things to choose from. Therefore, we make choices, and the ability to make choices does not exist in any other living form. The trees outside, they have the same soul, the same consciousness to grow. They are alive. Their soul is not different from our soul, but they are embodied in a tree. They have no free will. They grow exactly according to the program given to them, which of course we also live with our DNA molecule carrying the whole program, but they have no free will. They never get the experience of choosing anything. The animals, no choice. Insects, birds, no choice. Angels, no choice. So-called gods, where people believe in many gods, no choice. Because some have no choice for lack of knowledge, and gods have no choice because of knowledge. We have choice because of ignorance. We don't realize that how does this free will operate? Sometimes we hear everything is predetermined. If everything is predetermined, how can we have free will? A student of Harvard University, who was studying at the same time I was there, but we were both discussing spiritual subjects every day, one day called me up early morning. He said, "Ishwar, I found the truth. We have no free will." I said, "How did you come to that conclusion?" He said, "Because all religions, all spiritual systems say God is omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent. He's present everywhere. He is all-powerful and omniscient. He knows everything. If God knows everything, wouldn't he know what we are going to do? If he doesn't know, he just created his equal. Then he's not the God we define in any scripture at all. He is not the God that we are talking to and worshipping every day. So God must know everything. If he knows everything, we can have no free will. It's God's free will that's prevailing. Why are we calling it our free will? I discovered, eureka, we have no free will. So I invited him to come and have a discussion in my apartment. And he came, and I played a trick on him. I took up a tray and put 3 cups on the tray. One I filled with coffee, one with tea, and one I left empty. As soon as he came, I said, "My friend, what would you like to have? Coffee, tea, or nothing? I've got all 3. And I said, "Don't choose free will, you don't have any. You're going to choose between coffee, tea, and nothing, and you say you have no free will. Now let me know how you choose." He said, "How could you do that? How could you stump my whole discovery with a cup of tea and a cup of coffee?" I said, "You have to choose. Even if you say, I don't want to choose, that's your choice. Don't you see that choice making is not optional for you? That you're bound to make a choice. Every moment of our life we make choices. Every moment we use free will. How do you say free will has disappeared? Free will has to be there for us to do anything." He said, "I don't understand how I just discovered about the nature of God, that he has to be omniscient, has to know everything. At the same time, we are having free will and we have to make choices. Does he know what choices we are going to make?" I said, "Now you're coming to the right point. That you are going to make a choice. You will experience making a choice. You will have free will. Question is not whether God has free will or not. Question is, does he know what choice you're going to make? And if he knows, then both are right. That means we are all living in God's free will, but you are having the experience of making a choice and the experience of free will, but not real free will. If it was real free will, even God wouldn't know what you're going to choose. Therefore, your choice is predetermined. I said, forget about God. Even you know what you're going to choose if you only go within. And not very far within. Just go to where you have hidden your own memories of this life and some past life. If you go within and you see what are the factors that make us choose one thing or the other in life, you will find there are only two sets of factors, even in this worldly choices. One is hereditary. Your dad liked coffee, your granddad liked coffee, therefore you inherited the liking for coffee, you drink coffee. Genetic. It's a hereditary factor. Or you could have lived amongst people who drink coffee, you got acquainted with coffee, developed a taste, and therefore you like coffee. Environmental. Do you understand that every time we make a decision in life, it's either based on hereditary factors or environmental factors and no other factor? Look into it. The fact that you've forgotten what your hereditary factors are, and you've forgotten where you went through the environment, and think you are making a choice now, makes it look free. If I could see your environmental factors and your hereditary factors, I could predict in advance. I could write it down on a piece of paper. He is going to think deeply and make a choice and take coffee, which of course he did, because these two factors would point to your taking coffee. Even when we are using free will, it's predetermined by our own self, by our own experiences. And of course, if it is predetermined, God knows it, and God sets up the whole show, and we find we are part of God, and the free will we are using is only a part of the experience of God himself. There's not real free will of a human being. It's living in God's will when we make choices. Therefore, when we make a choice, it gives us a unique experience. It makes us feel we are responsible for something. We have to make a choice. When responsibility falls upon us, then we can argue to ourselves, why not do something that's good for me? And the whole of moral scene comes up. I want to be good and not bad. And we start into motion a new law of cause and effect called the law of karma. Whatever decision we make by making a choice leads to a reaction to it. In the case, that's our karma. And now we bear the reaction. And the reaction leads to more reactions, and that becomes a new karma. And we get trapped into this cause and effect. What we think we are doing good gives us a reward, and we are here to have the reward. What we think is bad punishes us, and so we have to bear the punishment. We don't go out of it. So by getting into the system of punishment and reward for our actions, we tie ourselves up forever here. The law of karma is created by the mind by making choices. By making choices here, which we are bound to make because of our ignorance of what choice has already been made. If we knew what choice has already been made, we would live in the will of God and follow that choice. Then we would not think it's our individual choice. By being shut off from that knowledge, we think we are making choices, and therefore we are going through the law of karma. But there's one very good thing about this free will. Doesn't matter how much illusion it is, doesn't matter how much reality it is. We experience it as reality. And therefore all the consequences of it become real right here in our experience. Why not make a really good choice? Why not choose to go within and go home? Why not seek the truth? That would also be an option. We will use the same free will which we are using all the time outside. We will use the same free will to seek inside. This is the only beautiful thing about free will. It can make you into a seeker of the truth. It can make you a seeker of yourself. It can make you a seeker of God. Therefore, free will is the greatest gift to us. The experience of free will is the greatest gift to us because it enables us to become a seeker, and we can seek ourselves and seek God and find Him inside. Therefore, it is said, if you seek, you will find. And I want to affirm today, if you seek within, you will find. No question about it. The only thing is, you must seek within, not outside. If anybody teaches you a method of seeking within, follow his advice. People all the time are asking me, who are perfect masters? Who are masters we should follow? There are so many masters around. Great masters' time, there were so many masters in India. He told an audience once, I think there are more masters than disciples now. In the world, the masters have multiplied today. So who should we follow? And people ask me that question, which master should we follow? I said, I am no judge of any master. I don't evaluate anybody's spiritual attainments. All I can say is, whoever says, seek within, is a master. He'll take you as far as he can go, and he'll take you no further. He can't take you further if he hasn't himself gone there. He won't give you any guidance. But he will take you in the right direction. The most important thing for us at this time is to go in the right direction. Direction is within, not outside. And if anybody takes you within, good, go ahead. And I tell you one more thing. If you seek and he takes you to a point and you are not satisfied, you must keep on seeking and you will find another master who will take you further. If he doesn't take you enough, seek, continue seeking. You'll find another master who will take you. Your seeking is a guarantee of going back home. Therefore, this free will is such a wonderful thing. It enables us to seek, enables us to keep on seeking. It does not mean that if you go to a master, you are locked in anywhere. You are locked out from your further experiences. You must seek more. Great master would initiate us into the path of going within. And at the end he would say, in the beginning and end he would say, I am giving you something that I got from my master. It worked for me. I hope it works for you. If you find something better than what I've given, take it. Don't come to me for permission. Permission granted in advance. If you find something better than I give you, the great master said, take it. Do me one favor. After taking it, come back to me and tell me what you found. I will also go and take it. These are great master's words. It does not mean that he was suspecting there is something further than what he taught. He was certain he was taking us to the final home. But he gave an open challenge to show that seeking is not confined to a group. You should seek till you find. Doesn't matter whether you belong to a group or not. If you are locked into a group and you say, we cannot get out of it, that's called belonging to a cult. If you are afraid of going away, that's a cult. It's not spirituality. You are a slave of a particular set of ideas. Therefore, perfect living masters never stop you from going and seeking further if they have not taken you where your home is. That's a great guarantee when they say such with openness that, look, you are a seeker. It's your seeking that's finding you. They also tell another truth. They say, look, we are saying this world is like a dream. This world is being created from within. That your mind and your consciousness are the creator of this whole experience. How can you expect that when your whole world is being created by yourself, that the master is somebody independent going somewhere else? He is also your creation. You created the master also. The truth is, the master is not outside. He appears outside. He appears outside because we don't go in. When we go in, we find that the master whose image we saw outside was actually inside. He was always inside. The true master is always inside us, not outside. We don't see him, therefore we see outside. And the guidance from a perfect living master always is to go within and find the true master. Eventually you find the true master is your own highest self in your own home, expressing in a physical body or in an astral body, causal body, whatever state you are in, he appears in that. Actually only an expression of your own self. If that is the truth, the masters you see outside who are perfect living masters, they are human beings like us, but they are a reflection of our reality within our own self. Therefore, very early on the spiritual journey to our true home, we find out that when we can withdraw our attention fully from this physical universe, like an artificial dying. When we die, we of course leave the body and go somewhere else, which we don't know where we go. Of course, we can check it out if we can die while living. If we get the same experience that we get after dying, if we can get that experience while we are living, we will know what it is like. when we actually die in the physical body. It's a useful exercise. I always tell my friends, it's very useful to know while you're still living in the body what you will have when you actually die in this body. Because you can die and have the same experience that you will have at death, which you can have it now while you're living. How? The same process that happens at the time of physical death. In the physical death, our consciousness, our life force, our vitality, which is creating all our experiences, including the experience of our body, starts withdrawing. It withdraws from the extremities of our body. Our hands and feet die before the rest of the body dies. Then the legs die, the arms die, the torso dies, and eventually the head dies and we say we are dead. If you see a person dying slowly in a hospital, or if you have seen anybody dying slowly, you will notice they will first say, "Where's my foot gone? Can you place my leg on this side?" It's already this side. They lose sensations of the extremities first. They're still talking to you. Then they lose sensations. When they start losing sensation of the torso, they feel they're flying because they lost sensation. And very often they can have a feeling of flying and being separated from the body while they're still attached. Experiences of the other body which can be separated start coming before they are dead. And eventually, when they die, they may not be fully dead. They can have what is called near-death experiences, where they see separated from the body, but still have a link to it and can come back and have revived. So many people have described their near-death experiences. When you die in stages, and the same thing can be achieved through meditation. If you withdraw your attention to where you belong, behind the eyes, inside the head, what has been sometimes called the third eye, or the single eye. The single eye that has been described, if the eye be single, your whole body shall be filled with light. That eye, the nukta, the point, the center of consciousness. If you can find that you belong there and withdraw your attention to that point, what happens? The more you think of that point, the more you withdraw to that point, the less you know about the world and about the physical body. And the sensations will go precisely in the same order as in real physical death. First, you won't know where the hands and feet have gone. Then you know you're withdrawn from the legs. Then you are flying, and you are getting your torso gone. And then you still feel you have something, some face, and then the body is gone. You're still alive, fully kicking, more alive than before. You have stepped out of this body into your inner body of sense perceptions which is lying inside. There you can see, touch, taste, smell, hear, have all the senses this physical body has. They are all intact and the body is dead. The process of death can be replicated artificially through meditation by just withdrawing your attention there. The difficulty is that we have never done that. We have been taught all our life to focus attention on things, to put our attention outside of ourselves, never withdraw it back. We are not used to it. We've never done it. Even when I tell people, meditate, put your attention behind the eyes, they try to focus the same attention inside, which they're trying to put outside. They are trying to use attention as something that goes out, and they want to put the attention there. They think we have to form a little image of ourselves and look at it from inside. That's not withdrawing attention. That's trying to put your attention in some place which might give you a headache, which might give you problems because you are trying to push something in your head and you are not designed to focus attention inside your head. You're designed to focus attention outside. If you try to focus attention inside, you are trying to do something unnatural. You get headache, you try to roll your eyes in, you try to reverse your eyes like these eyes have to work meditation. That's not the way at all. The withdrawal of attention is exactly the opposite of focusing of attention. It's not to focus on something. It is to withdraw from something. It is not to say, I have to look for something. It is, I have to find who is looking. Where are you looking from? Where are you? That's the point. That you have to meditate to discover who you are, from where do you operate if you are merely a conscious being. Supposing you reduce yourself to the size of a little pin, where would that pin be? Where are you then? Not you look at the pin, you are the pin. So you experience that meditational technique of withdrawing of attention. We haven't done it, therefore we find it difficult. Once you practice it, it's very easy. We will be doing it now. And I wanted to introduce this subject because so many people have been meditating all their lives. They come to me and say, we have been meditating all our life, we get nothing. I got emails all the time. I meditate 2.5 hours, I meditate 6 hours, I got nothing. So where do you meditate? Oh, I meditate in my special meditation chamber. I meditate on my chair, I have a special new chair. I meditate on my new rug I bought from Kashmir. I tell them, you are meditating on the chair, on the rug, and on all the other things that you have arranged for yourself. You're not meditating on yourself. If you meditate on yourself, you should think of nothing else except, if I am in my head, where am I? If this body of mine is a house in which I live, it has 6 floors. I call them 6 floors because of the energy center's location below us. This body has 2 parts, and the dividing line is the line of the human eyes, the physical eyes. The part below contains energy centers. They are responsible for all the energy activities of the body and even of the world around us. They are the circuitry of energy that creates all experiences for us outside, the energy. The part above the head is awareness, not energy. Awareness is not energy. Energy is a power. Awareness is knowledge of yourself. Awareness does not lie below the eyes. So when we have different kind of meditational techniques that take us down to the various energy centers, we get a lot of energy experiences. We get unusual experiences. And I can describe all the experiences sitting all day, what we can get at each center. But the 6 centers that go up to the 2 eyes are all energy centers. And if you want to have higher awareness, they are not needed. You don't have to go down. You're already here. You wouldn't be looking at me, you wouldn't be speaking, you wouldn't be awake at the physical body if you're not behind the eyes. You're already above those centers. Therefore, if you want to have higher awareness, you must not go below the eye center. Now the energy centers below, there are 6 of them, and they operate differently. That's why I say, let's imagine this body is like a house, special human's body style house, but it still has 6 floors. And the 6th floor is where we are sitting behind the eyes. Then we withdraw ourselves on the 6th floor behind the eyes. If we are able to imagine, we are sitting in the head, not on the chair. We are sitting in the head at this level. The nose is slightly below us. The eyes are behind us, or in front of us. The ears are on either side of us. We are sitting there. We have that feeling. We have that experience. That's the right point to start meditation. If you don't do that, meditation is just looking for something that you won't find, because you're looking in the wrong direction from a wrong place. It doesn't matter how much focus you put inside, doesn't matter. It's withdrawal of attention to your own self. The discovery will be made when you find within yourself in terms of your own consciousness, your own self sitting behind the eyes. So the very first step is to find the space to meditate. We will do that now. But before doing it, I want to mention something else. I have praised this human body so much. I have called it that it is the temple of the living God. I am not the first one to say that. It's been repeated very often, that the body is the temple of a living God. It's called Nar Narayani De, that means the house where the Lord and ourselves both live together. It's been called by several beautiful descriptions. It's the place where we are going to meditate and discover all the reality. How are we treating the body? What kind of foul stuff and junk stuff we put into it? What kind of foul things we eat? What kind of foul things we think? That's not appropriate. If we want to respect this temple, we come to a church, we keep it so neat and clean. We go to a place of worship, always silence and great cleanliness. Don't we realize that that's the same thing here? What do we do with this temple that we are carrying with us all the time? We clutter it with all kinds of thoughts. We clutter it with all kinds of dirt. We do all kinds of things. Purity of maintaining the body is a very important thing. And all spiritual practices have recommended it. That please respect your body. Show respect if you're going to use it like a temple for worship and worship yourself and God inside it. Therefore, please take good care of this body. Don't put junk food into it. Eat lightly. Eat the simplest of foods. They recommend vegetarian, Indian, or any kind of vegetarian food, very light, not heavy. You can't meditate with heavy food in your bellies. Therefore, lead very simple lives. Don't think too much about things. Try to concentrate on what you are doing. And then you sit in the temple in the 6th floor, and you'll get success. The other point I want to make is that the secret tool to discover yourself is human attention. But the way to do it is to concentrate it. And concentration of attention is what is needed. Right now, our attention is scattered. It's scattered in so many thoughts, so many ideas, so many jobs to do. They all crowd into us. It's even scattered in our body, scattered throughout the world, scattered in our different activities, and therefore it's not concentrated. What is needed is to concentrate this power of attention behind the eyes by focusing not on an external object, not on even looking at yourself, but being there. You have to be there. And you can concentrate on that. You can examine, where am I? What's around me? What's going on here? I'm inside my chamber. I'm in my head. What's going on here? If you think of nothing else but what is inside, you're concentrating your attention there. So concentration of attention in the head is very important. For the physical body to be purified, I use a very simple exercise. I don't think you will mind if we do that same exercise again. Some of you have done it. It's called the orange juice experiment. It serves two purposes. Firstly, it cleanses the body because you go through the whole body through that process. Secondly, it tells you your power to use your attention wherever you like in the body, and that helps in putting the attention in your head. So if you are ready, we'll start with that right now. Those who would like to do the orange juice experiment, please raise your hands. Those who don't want to can keep sitting and not do it. They don't have to do anything. In this experiment, and I call it just an experiment, in this experiment, we will imagine that our body is made of glass, is made of transparent, thick glass. There's no skin or bones or anything inside. It's just a hollow glass body. And we have to fill it up with orange juice from toes to head, and in our arms and hands and in our feet. It's a closed jar of orange juice, but it has valves in the fingertips and also valves in the toes of the foot, so that when you press these fingers, the orange juice flows out from the fingers. But when you don't press, it retains the orange juice inside. Same thing with the toes of the feet. This is an imaginary exercise. So you imagine your body is made of glass and it is filled up with orange juice. Close your eyes, sit in a comfortable position. A comfortable position is one in which you won't go to sleep during the exercise. And it's not going to draw your attention to any discomfort you're having in your body. So no artificial postures to be taken, just comfortable upright position. Now fill your body with orange juice. Start filling it up from the bottom, take it right to the top. Watch it filling up the whole body, from the feet to the head, top of the head. How many of you could do this experiment successfully? Raise your hands. Very good. How many of you had difficulty? It looked like you all passed. First experiment successful. Second experiment. Did you notice that in this experiment you were using your attention to go from top of the head to the bottom, to the feet? You were made aware in stages where to stop and go, so the attention where it is placed is entirely in your hands. And that is why it's a good preliminary exercise to see how attention has to be used to be placed behind the eyes. Was there any strain to anybody in the body? Those who felt no strain on the physical body, raise your hands. Those who felt it was very strenuous on the body? No, you all felt it was very easy. You know why? It was imaginary. You did not use the physical body at all. You used the power of imagination. Where does the power of imagination come from? Same consciousness that gives us every other power. The power of imagination is a very strong factor. It can even be used to put our attention wherever we like. If we imagine we are on top of this building, our attention will go to the top of the building. If you imagine you are standing next to me, your attention will take you next to me. Imagination coupled with attention is a very powerful tool. That is why when we will be doing meditation, we have to use the power of imagination alone to be behind the eyes and the head. Not any strain. There should be no strain on the head, no strain on the body. It's not a physical exercise. The exercise of consciousness is imagination. And we think imagination is imaginary. Soon you'll find out it's not as imaginary as you think. The next experiment is to deal with the sense perceptions that we have. We think that the sense perceptions belong to the physical body. We think because we have eyes, we see. Because we have ears, we hear. Because we have hands and feet, we do, act, touch. And because we have other organs, that is how our perceptions are working. That is not true. Perceptions do not work because of the physical body. They work because you are alive and you are conscious. And consciousness creates that through the astral body and inner body and not through the physical body. Just because that astral body is embedded in this, overlaps this, we feel it's this body that's functioning and doing this. If you leave the consciousness of this body and only the inner body remains and still has the same sense perceptions, you will know sense perceptions were not tied with this body but came from inside. Next experiment gives us a view of that in a very simple way. In this experiment, we'll again close our eyes, not imagine that we are glass jars anymore. It's easier than that. We'll imagine who we are in the physical bodies. All we'll do will be to go and sit in the place behind the eyes. Think that is our house. We are sitting there in a comfortable chair. If you don't like to sit on a chair, you can now take a rug, even a cashmere rug or expensive one, and sit on it. But the rug must be imaginary. And the place you are going to sit in is behind the eyes, and you have to imagine you are sitting there. If it's a chair, take the best chair, the most comfortable chair, because it's free today, it's coming from imagination. And once you have seated there, place a small side table like this table I have here. Place it on your right side, inside. On that table, place a set of flowers in a vase or vase, whatever you call it, vase or vase of flowers. Not necessarily these flowers. your favorite flowers. Put your favorite flowers in imagination on the side table next to you. Then put a drink, not necessarily water, any drink you like. A drink in a glass or a cup of your favorite drink, and then also place a plate with your favorite snack on it, whatever you like to eat. Imagine all these things are sitting there. Then I will give you directions what to do with them. Clear? Close your eyes. Go back to the spot behind the eyes. Welcome back. How many of you could do this experiment successfully? Please raise your hands. How many of you could see flowers? How many of you saw new flowers that you'd never seen before? Very good. New experience. How many of you could smell the flowers? How many of you smelt a new scent, new fragrance never smelled before? Very good. How many of you saw a drink in the experiment? How many of you could taste the drink? How many of you had a new drink today? Very good. How many of you ate your favorite snacks? How many of you found a new snack today? Very good. What did you notice from this little experiment was that the power to see, the power to hear, touch, taste, smell does not belong to the physical body. It belongs equally to an imaginary body. And the imaginary body is imaginary not because it's imaginary because our attention is on this body and we made this real and that imaginary. When the attention goes more than 50% into that imaginary body, that will become real, more real than this body, and this body will become imaginary. Just a switch of attention. Attention is playing this game. You are also able to see that some of you had new experiences, new flowers, new drinks, new snacks. Therefore, you find that you did not. How many of you had an experience of something new you did not ever imagine? Thank you. So that shows that so many of you had a totally new experience of sense perception. It's not a spiritual experience, it's an experience of sense perceptions, that your perceptions exist even without the physical body. Just a little experience to show that do not think this body is your reality. It's a cover upon your reality. And when you pull your attention, don't be frightened when you lose the sensation gradually of this body and the other body opens up, because it will be the experience of dying while living. People who were impatient and made quick progress, even people who were initiated very recently, write to me the experience of withdrawing the attention and seeing arms have gone, legs have gone, our torso is going, felt like dying. I was running away from it. It was scary. It is scary if you are impatient. It's very lovely if you go stage by stage, gradually. There's no rush. You're discovering the truth which is always there. It will not go away. There's no impatience. You have plenty of time for doing it. Take it slowly. Meditation should be practiced gently and slowly. Great Master used to say, it's a Sahaj Yoga. Sahaj means slowly and patiently. That the more slowly and patiently you get, Great Master would say, you get darja ba darja, stage by stage. Gradually you should get these experiences. Then they become very normal for you. But if you try to rush through them, sometimes they can scare you. But once you are able to establish your connection with the Master who initiates you, who takes responsibility for you, and who is going to guide you to your true home. Once you have that assurance, and you reach the Master inside, there is no scare at all, because you are never alone. You will not go through this spiritual journey alone. You will go with the Master on your side all the time. Eventually you will find you and the Master were one. At the top you will find there was no difference. It was just a creation to go over there. That's a wonderful experience we have. I would like to begin the meditation now and make a little short break after this. A very short session of meditation. In the meditation, how many of you are already got a mantra or words to repeat in meditation? How many of you have that? In this first session, we will use those words, whatever you have. How many of you have never got any words of mantra or anything to repeat and are totally uninitiated in this thing? Those who are totally uninitiated, coin right now a small phrase, a very short phrase of a few words which express your love for the beloved. Just a short phrase that you want to show your love to your beloved, whatever word you like, but stick to the same words and go on repeating when I say repeat the words. Okay? In this first short session for meditation, we are going to go back to the same place behind the eyes, where you had the experience with the flowers, same experience that you have with other things. We go to the same place. The place behind the eyes which you did when you did the orange juice experiment. And I said, hold your attention at the eyes. That's the place. Close your eyes and go to that place. And have the experience that you are there. And then, when you are surely convinced you are there, then start repeating the words of mantra that you have been taught, or the coined words that you are making up now. Repeat them very slowly and listening to the words, what you are repeating. Not that you are just repeating. Repeating is with the tongue of the mind, because you are not going to use this tongue to repeat. Because you are sitting in the head and repeating those words. You will repeat those words with your mind, mentally repeat them, and not only repeat them, listen to what you are repeating. Therefore, you have to repeat very consciously every syllable of the word, listening to what you are saying. Now let me explain to you that repetition is no use if you don't listen to it. Repetition and all speech, whether with the tongue or with the mind, is mental. Every time we speak or think, it's mental. It's not a spiritual activity. The spirit listens. The soul listens, the mind speaks. We are trying to do a spiritual exercise. Therefore, keep in mind that the listener is always there. Even if you are repeating words, you are the listener sitting there listening to those words. Your mind is repeating, you are listening. Make sure you have both these things, that you listen to what you say. In order to do that, you can't say rapidly. When you repeat something very rapidly, you're not listening to it. It's a parrot-like repetition. Therefore, repeat very slowly, listening to every word you are speaking, carefully. And the idea is, you listen to those words so carefully, you have no time to think of anything else. If other thoughts are coming in, you are not listening to it. If some other thoughts of the world are coming now, when are we going to get up, when are we going to do this? Then you are not listening to those words. If you are really occupied, attentively, in listening to the words in your head, you will have no time for anything else. And you will see the immediate withdrawal of attention and experience of it. It's as simple as that. Close your eyes, settle yourself comfortably in the meditation chair or rug or whatever you have behind the eyes. Come back. How many of you could successfully do that? That you were able to sit in and repeat the words and listen to them? How many of you had difficulty in doing that? We'll resolve the difficulties later. How many of you enjoyed this exercise? Very good. How many of you wished I had not called you out? Very good. That's good. I'm sorry to disappoint those who wish to continue longer, but as I said, these are really samplings. if you continue long enough with this very exercise, what you just did, is enough to withdraw your attention from the extremities of your body, and you will not know where your hands and feet are, where your torso is, and eventually where your head is, and you open up with a new body that will be light, pliable, and gradually you'll recall all the memories of that body also. That simple exercise can do that. We'll go into more complex exercises. Right now, I would like to know those who did that orange juice experiment. Did anyone have a problem with washing off the orange juice from some parts of the body, if you have any? Generally, it's also used as a self-diagnosis of what part of our physical body needs some help, because the orange juice seems to stick if we have sickness or some problem in the body, and that's why I said at the end, you can wash it off with the water. Normally, when I don't even say that, people say, well, at the end we did wash out self with water to get the orange juice all washed out. The second thing is that the experience of the sense perceptions, so many of you had experience of new flowers. How many of you saw the same flowers change colors while you were there? Oh, lots of you. So you might notice those were not flowers of this world at all. They belong to the other world. The flowers there automatically change color when you are there. Many of these experiences you will find again in meditation. When you reach that state, you will find the whole world is like made up like that. And it's a beautiful world. There is no darkness in that world. There's not very strong light either. There's a gray, kind like a gray sky all the time there in the first plane. There is an orange sky, that golden sky in the second plane. There is a very bright light, like the sun, not red sun, but the bright white sun is spread out all over the sky. It's so beautiful. And then there is no space and time after that. It's only consciousness, which you cannot describe. It's the source of all these experiences. And you can see from that experience beyond your own true spiritual being, your soul contains all that seed, and everything can flow out from that at any time. And everything can be pulled back into that. That the whole of creation is taking place from that single source. These are wonderful experiences that you go through in this meditation. Beyond this first stage, you need help of a perfect living master or any master who takes you further. But beyond the mind, you need a perfect living master. There are masters who have crossed the mind and gone to the stage of the individual soul. And we call them perfect living masters also. But in Indian texts, we describe them as Sadgurus, S-A-D, D as in day, not as in T as in Tom. But the others who have reached beyond the individuated soul, we call them as Satgurus. That means the real teachers of truth. And the Satgurus take us to our ultimate home, where we all merge as one. In the state of the Par-Brahm, beyond creation, where the Sadgurus take us, they show us our reality and who we are. But they do not show the totality. So there's a little distinction between different masters. But you cannot really determine this sitting here. The only way to determine how far a master has gone is to go with him and check it out there. If he can take you no further, that's his limit. That means that's where he has gone. And if he takes you further, that's his good. Then you are good luck, and his good luck also that he has gone further. Only a perfect living master, whom we call as Satguru in India, actually takes you to your true home, where you find you never left that home. The whole show took place in totality of consciousness, that we were all really one consciousness. The whole show took place within, looks outside. So it's a very beautiful experience to have all these while you are living here in the physical body. All this experience is built into the physical body while we are alive here. When we die, we may have more knowledge, we may go into heavens or hells. We don't have this opportunity. The opportunity is only now in a human body, when you can be seekers and you can seek. We will have a break now, and I think this is a time when they have set apart for interviews. And because in many of these programs, we find that the people who want interviews is more than the number that we can accommodate in the time we have, we sometimes have to limit how many interviews can be given. Sometimes we limit by time, sometimes we limit by number, sometimes just by the time frame in which we are occupying a building. So we will be having the interviews separately. It will be one-on-one. And those who have come from outside the country, for the long distance they have traveled, we give them the first chance. They come first. Those who have never had an interview before, they come next. And then the rest of those who have requested interviews will come in that order. And we have placed those who live in Chicago, need not ask for interview at this time. They get plenty of opportunities otherwise. So that is the order which we'll be able to accommodate as many of you as possible. Thank you very much. If you have any immediate question, you can ask me now. Otherwise, we'll have a longer question-answer session tomorrow. Yes, Yui? Never. It has never been on record that any person has died while living in meditation. There's no record at all in history. And this is a good thing to know, because when we get frightened that we might actually die, we don't die. The truth was revealed to my own father, who was a follower of Great Master. And when he first got initiated, he was a young student, and he was very anxious to get results quickly. So he did intensive meditation to start with. And as the consciousness withdrew, he felt he was dying. He screamed, he said, this is not meditation, this is actually death. So he said, I'm not going to meditate anymore. Then he went to Great Master and he said, that your meditational technique is not good. I thought I'll see some good sights in meditation. That's making me leave my body and I'm dying. It's just like death. And Great Master said, yes, it is dying while living, but in history, nobody has been reported to die while meditating. And meditating is this process of dying while living. There are people who know immediately beforehand when they are going to die, and they go into a meditative state to die peacefully. That's a different thing. But when we do meditation on a regular basis like this, nobody has died. Second answer Great Master gave to my father was, if you die, who do you expect to see there? He said, Master, I expect to see you. He said, are you afraid of seeing me? Why are you afraid? I'll be there, definitely. I'll be there much before that. I'll see you before you die. Even in your physical death, I'll be there before you die. You will see me before this body dies. Why are you afraid? So he took the fear out of my father's head, and he was able to meditate very successfully after that and have wonderful experiences. Other people have also had similar experiences. So nobody died while having this experience. But it looks like dying because it is dying while living. In the Bible I read St. Paul saying, I die daily. And surely it doesn't mean physical death if he dies daily. And there is a little parrot story about dying in order to recover who you are and to get salvation. And I'll conclude today's session by telling you that story. Once upon a time, there was a merchant in India who used to do business in Africa. Every year he went to Africa and he bought things from Africa, their silks and some cashew nuts and other nuts and so on, brought them home. And he sold Indian textiles and took them to Africa, sold them there. He was doing import and export business. And one day when he was in Africa, he passed through a jungle, a forest, in which there were a lot of parrots. And he loved those sight of beautiful parrots. He said, I wish I could take one of these parrots home. So he bought a cage and picked up one of the parrots, put him in the cage and brought him home. Brought him home to India, and he fed him with the most favorite parrot foods. I don't know if anybody of you have fed parrots. Their most favorite food is red chilies, green chilies, those sharp chilies, and a substance they make in India called churi, which means some bread with sugar and ghee, and you mix it very tasty, and the parrots love them. Human beings love them too, but parrots too. So he would feed the parrot with the churi, and he would feed the parrot with the mirchi, which was the chili. Then mirchi and the churi made the parrot very happy. Parrot was singing and dancing and all the time and entertaining this man. Next year, when this merchant was going to Africa, he asked his parrot, I am going to your hometown. Do you have any message to send to the folks back home? And the parrot said, yes. Tell them I am enjoying my life in this cage. I eat, drink, and be merry. I dance. I get churi, and I get mirchi every day. I am very happy. So he said, okay. He went to Africa after finishing his business. He went to that parrot forest, and he called all the parrots. He said, come on, folks, I have a message for you. You remember I took a parrot with me to India? He sent a message to you. He says he's enjoying his life in the cage. He eats churi and mirchi, sings and dances all day, is very happy. On hearing this, one older looking parrot sitting on the branch of a tree had tears in his eyes, and he fell down dead. And the merchant said, this parrot must have been very close to my parrot. He could not bear to hear this message, and he gave up his life. Anyway, he returned to India and told the parrot in the cage, I conveyed your message to the parrots there, but one parrot must have been very close to you. Because when I told him that you are enjoying your life in your cage, and you eat mirchi, and you eat chori, and you sing and dance all day, he had tears in his eyes, and he died right there on the spot. He fell down and dead. On hearing this, the parrot in the cage had tears in his eyes, and he died down, dropped dead. The merchant was very sad. Why did I convey this message? If his friend could not bear to hear this message, I should have known. I should not convey this message back. Anyway, the parrot was dead. It opened the cage and threw the bird out. As soon as the bird was thrown out, the parrot flew his wings and came up and sat on a wall. And the merchant said, you aren't dead after all? He said, no, the other parrot in the forest didn't die either. He only sent me a message through you. And the message was, if you want to escape from the cage, die while living. Thank you very much.